Good morning. Guess you forgot it was upload day. So this is a little bit slapdash, and I'm very tired. So broadly, I would say that these answers are going to be true. I might fudge some of the details, but it is Nano, and it is going exceedingly well. I don't think I've ever been ahead of like the daily word count goal, and I have been 2 days in a row now, and it's really exciting. So I thought I would do the WIP tag. Questions that were taken from Dearest Danielle 6810's 2021 video. I will link to that down below. Yes, and well, we'll get to there. The first question is, what is the working title? And while arguably none of my titles work, I've just been calling it Cinderella. I don't have anything better at this moment, and it's good enough, you know. The second question is, where did this idea come from? And I think the kind of glib answer is fandom puritanism. If you've been around the channel, you'll know that I watched like the Entrepreneurs video. It was like 25 days to write 25,000 words of a non-fiction book. That's a challenge. I'm going to do that. And I tried. I definitely tried. It did not go well. So yeah, the idea of like royalty bad. So how would that work in a Cinderella retelling kind of got to me. So we do have a prince, and he is a prince, and we also do not have royals. It makes sense in world, and also it was a really interesting way of looking at it, because this was never intended to be like political, but it was really interesting looking at it in the sense of like, well, what kind of situation would this evolve from? Yeah. The less glib answer is, I really like analysis, literary analysis. It's why I constantly talk about romancing the Gothic, and I've joined Dracula Daily for the second year in a row. And I love intertextuality, and I also hate the Ship of Theseus philosophical question. But this idea of like, how far can you take a retelling while still having it be a retelling is definitely something that has played on my mind. So I think it started from, I don't want her family to be abusive. This is the core of Cinderella. And if we take that out, what happens? What do we get? And the answer is a really interesting idea. The attention very much then turned to like, well, okay, we still need a reason for her to not go to the ball, and what would that reason be? And so I would say that's where the idea came from. So the third question is, what genre? Which is a funny one, because the thing that comes to mind is not fantasy, because I cannot believe that I'm not writing fantasy. And it's working. But the thing, I would also have said romance when I first got the idea, which was years ago. And I don't actually know if it's going to be a romance anymore. So retelling is all I have got for you. And the fourth question is, one sentence synopsis. That's not a question. The ambassador of the... No, that's a bad one. with her island excited about an upcoming celebration, Hua is determined to join them, but her capabilities are in question. The next question is self-pub or traditional? And that's quite an interesting one because, like, even from like primary school, I was like self-pub all the way. I'm not giving up my copyright, but as I have learned in the last year or two, I'm kind of fine giving up copyright if the project is YA or middle grade. And so I actually think this one is probably only going to get published if it's traditional, which is bonkers to me, but yeah, there's your answer, traditional. So this question is, what would you compare it to? And while I could just broadly say Cinderella, obviously, I think the Whitney Houston and Brandy, Cinderella and Ever After. I know there's like an unofficial call for a boycott of Disney, but this was a few years ago, so I think I can talk about it. Yeah, so we got it, and I realised it had both movies. The first I hadn't seen, and Ever After I had. And for me, I would say the Brandy Cinderella kind of in its diversity. Listen, I don't like talking about rep known voices, and I fully reject those from my work, but yeah, I think I would compare it to that if I had to write a comp title. Usually I'm like, okay, so this is going to be a fantasy China, or this is going to be a fantasy France. I chose the names Hua and Kai because they exist among various East Asian languages, and I have chosen names for other characters that come from, say, like South Asian, no, Southeast Asian, sorry, no, also South Asian. And so we're kind of more, we're not dealing with something as literal as like fantasy China. It's more like, this is, I don't know how to explain this without sounding Orientalist, and that sounds really bad. Thank God we have no December to edit this. Yeah, it's not like straight up pick a historical period, look up the like construction. It's a little bit more broad than that, but still with cultural specificities. And Ever After, because like I said, we kind of have royals and we kind of don't have royals. And so while the political stuff is a lot more background than in Ever After, it's there, and I think those are the best that I can do for this question. The question of what inspired me to write this book is kind of something that we've already covered. The testing how far you can take a retelling before it stops being a retelling. Yeah, I don't got anything else for that one, sorry. No, I will say, out of the many like half-baked ideas that I've started or haven't, I wanted to do this one. I was compelled to do it. And it, like I said, it's been really successful in terms of like words on the page, but it hasn't come out stylistically like I thought it would at all. And it's much more of an ensemble piece than I had ever expected, and also just my writing style heavily changes depending on like the character I'm writing from, and that's deliberate. You know, like in Keep My Eye on the Chamber Door, some people are very like short and terse in their sentences, and other people are very detail oriented, and some people don't actually note like the quotation marks when someone is speaking. And so I like to change things up depending on who is actually the prospective character. And I don't really recognise this style as mine. I have written in it before, which is always a very tricky situation to be in. But the thing that made me choose this is that it had a kind of warmth to it. Like, I had a bad October, and there was something about this that was, just thinking about it was like Cinderella was saying to me, come and sit around my fire. Also, like, speaking of comparisons, they haven't done a Cinderella, but on the sliding scale of like Disney to Studio Ghibli, it always kind of felt a little bit more Ghibli. That kind of coziness, that kind of melancholy, but also that kind of safety and growth. And so, why choose this one over the others? What inspired me to choose this? I would say it's that. The last question is, what else about your book might pique your interest? And I don't know. I'm not a very big marketing promo person, and if what I have said has not at all interested you, I don't think I have anything else to say that would. Sibling relationships, maybe. I really am enjoying writing those, but also I am an only child, and so I don't know if I've done them well. But yeah, that. Thank you for watching, and I hope if you're also doing Nano that you have a very successful month, however you define that.